All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Bayview Water and Sewer District. It's 3:30 on Thursday, July 16th, 2026. Can I take a roll call, please?
Sean Luoma.
Dan Tyndall.
Mark Lewis.
Gianna Hoffmeister. All right, I'm hoping that you've all read the consent calendar approval, the regular and special board meeting minutes of June 15th, 18th, and 25th, 2026. Reviewed the monthly invoice list, regular and special bills as presented, and the June financials. I accept a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, treasurer's report, Jesse.
One moment, just as I was telling the boys that I was like, oh, I'm waiting to see what that one thing is
You found
that
it.
I've forgotten. It was to pull up the operator and treasurer's report, so I'm gonna pull both those up right now. All right, so starting with the treasurer's report. On the income side. Looks like we brought in about, or we billed for 26,292, but brought in about 24,407, so that's almost 2,000 short for the month. It is certification month, and we do have quite a bit of sewer fees outstanding, more than we've had in prior years, so that will get us caught up there. On the water side, we've billed for about 31,000 and received about 27,000. A lot of those lags can be from people paying ahead, as well as some that are behind, but more and more lately, I'm seeing that people are paying ahead on their bills. Not sure why, but that does seem to be a thing.
Jesse, on the certifications for sewer, did
Yeah.
you say 90% of them get paid by December? Or what ratio of actually getting with the first tax?
A lot of them will roll over either December or all the way until the next tax filing season, but they have, I think, about 3 years.
Yes, they do. I
Until-
just
yeah.
didn't know what percentage actually
Yeah.
gets.
I'm not sure about what percentage it
Is
is.
it half or less than half?
I would say it's more about 75%.
Oh, really?
If I had to estimate,
Right.
but yeah. We did take in one new connection fee, so we have a water hookup fee there. In total for the month, we brought in about 62,500. Any questions on the income side? All right, I'll move on down to expenses. All right, on the sewer side, we have been very busy with pumping. We do that every July, though. Well, this was for the month of June, but gearing up for the 4th of July, so mid-month June, we start pumping all of our commercial septic tanks. And so we had about 13 pumpings. Maybe the old treasurer's report. There's another one. We had about 13 pumpings, which were around 14,560. And I received 5 of those invoices just in this last day or two.
And as a reminder, Jesse, some of those tanks, the commercial ones are 2,500 gallons, not. 1,000.
Yes,
So
some
that
of
makes
them
it
are
more
quite
expensive.
large. Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's annually.
we do those annually, yeah.
Commercial ones, some quite large.
Yeah. And there are a number of them at McDonald's, so,
Yes.
but they do make that up in their user fees, so. But yeah, it gets pretty expensive for septic pumping. at this
Is that
time of
all
year.
our commercial accounts, like Ralph's, do they have, theirs is a regular, like. The home size there, isn't it?
Theirs is a home size, but yeah, we do pump
Yes.
anybody commercially during the 4th of July. Anybody who gets business or increased traffic or
I
things
thought
like that.
we had the same
Takes
thing.
up
Other
1,500
than-
I'm going off, sorry.
Well, the only other like commercial type accounts that we don't regularly do would be something like the mercantile, because they don't have theirs open to the public, or the Frontier or Zipley building, things like that. Post office, we don't do them once a year. But yeah, anything that's open to the public and traffic, we make sure that they all get pumped, and especially the ones that are close to the lake.
Mhm.
So heavy time of year for that. We did 3 residential pumpings. We also had a tank replacement this year, so that's why you'll see the 3 pumpings are around 4,559. We did have a customer who had a significant amount of roots. We weren't even able to pump the lower 18 inches of the tank because there were so many roots,
Oh dear.
which meant that we were not able to pull the tank out of the ground. So we did have to abandon it in place and fill it in. So we did the proper abandoning in place there. We don't pay for prior tanks that have been abandoned because before the sewer system came through, people had their own tanks and they were required to abandon their tanks. But this one was a tank that we have maintained for many years. It is connected to our system, so we did have to replace that one. And then just about $7.50 for locates. That's it for sewer expenses. Does anybody have any questions for sewer side?
I do.
Okay.
When we replace a tank like the one that was so severely overgrown with
Yes.
roots, what do we do to ensure that the new tank we replace it with isn't going to be in a similar situation? Like, is it excavated really deeply? We get rid of trees? I just don't know what happened.
Yeah, I did ask them about that, and this is the first situation I've encountered like that. So when they were, and it was actually pretty good to keep the tank in place, because I said, well, are we just gonna be putting it in the same situation? And he did say that the tank is on the other side of the tree itself, and the tree is fully grown, it's not expected to root anymore. But there is a 12-foot barrier between that tank and this one, and he doesn't expect that it's going to
Okay,
go into that tank as well. So.
thank you.
Yeah.
Question.
All right, for the sewer side, we did do a water line repair on Navigator Court for about 4,300. We had some SCADA work at Cape Horn. We put in a new capacitor, and then there was some troubleshooting up at the Ponderay Pines Reservoir. That was about 2,700. And then we had a new connection up on Glacier Loop, and that was about 2,884. And then we had some locates and some testing in total for water. It was about 10,117. Any questions on water stuff? Okay, moving on down the line for the report.
I have a question real quick.
Sure, yeah.
So the locates that
Yes.
we were talking about, that's gonna, the big increase is gonna show up next month.
Yeah, it
And then-
seems to be a bit of a ebb and a flow there. I think they do the locates, then do the work, and yeah, kind of alternate back.
I'll
and forth.
update on my report.
Okay. And then everything else down the list, having to do with director fees, dues and subscriptions, office supplies, were all routine. Office supplies, I've been doing a significant amount of filing now that some projects have come to an end, so I've been getting a lot of different office supplies for that and getting the back rooms nice and organized. We did do our dues and subscriptions. A lot of those are annual, some big ones, QuickBooks and LogMeIn and IRWA, things like that. Everything else was routine for janitorial costs. Except for the office, we did have to replace the fan blower in our unit here, and then they did their annual maintenance for that. Everything else was routine. Any questions?
Okay. Moving on to the operators report, the boss.
Okay, all right, boss time, no? Over here. Okay, so this reflects the month of June in comparison with the meter readings as well. So 12,149,000 gallons produced by the wells during June, of which 5,617,000 gallons registered for customer meters. Works out to be 368,000 gallons per day produced by the wells, and about 170,000 gallons per day registered through customer meters. Equivalent customer consumption 324 gallons per day per service connection at 524 connections. Unaccounted for water loss, 6,532,000 gallons, or 54% of production by the wells. You can see how this compares with last year, when for most of the systems we managed, it's a little bit milder June than we've had, so you can expect a little bit less in production, which is the same case Compared with last year, it was almost 60 million gallons, 15,835 versus 8 million gallons used for customer consumption. Then we go on down year to year consumption, almost 13 million gallons 2 years ago, 15 million gallons 3 years ago, almost 10 4 years ago, 5 years ago, about 13. So that's what we've got there. Let's see, if there are any questions about that, there will be an update to this report of what we did yesterday. Remember this report?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you move on with this, it might be good to point out that the percentage is down quite a bit
Right,
for the law, but there's a reason for that.
right,
The reason is that we have a lot higher usage, so the percentage of loss. But the good news about that is the percentage of loss seems to be consistent.
Right.
Winter, summer,
Right.
rainfall. So
that's fairly consistent. So. Okay, on down to water system items. This one is from, the report was done before, that we did this yesterday. Update on leak repairs for transmission line Fairview State Park. Ground penetrating radar that Idaho Water gave us shows there was a leak there. Dug it out and there was no leak. So it was dry. Maybe you already heard about this, but anyway, we went up and down the pipe and Bob, you want to tell about what we did find there with the little noise?
well, it wasn't too significant.
No,
There was a little bit of noise. We turned a well pump on while we were there, make sure we got full
Right.
pressurization. And when as the system pressurized, there was some noise. But my thinking on that is it was probably the gas, it's fairly new pipe, it's probably just the gasket moving up and down as it seals. And as that gets more set in place, some of that noise may go away. I had my listening device up there the day before just to check it out, because we had some pictures that showed it kind of dried up.
Mhm.
And I didn't pick anything up, so I wasn't surprised that we didn't find anything. When we dug, it is something we're gonna keep an eye on, just to make sure that it is an intermittent leaking seal.
And then when we turned it off also,
Yep.
it made that same noise, like, okay, the pressure's going down and you just hear, it just when you're standing up by the pipe, you're like, oh, maybe I should jump back, what's it gonna do? And then they do away.
But it wasn't a noise that would be unusual.
Right,
Usually when we pressure test
Right.
pipes, that's the kind of noise, when we first put them in, that's the kind of noise we hear, so.
and there's no indication of it ever having a leak there.
No.
It's always pretty dusty and dry. Okay, we'll give you kind of show and tell on this one here. Possible placement of main PLC due to increasing false alarms. It's inside the cabinet there. Place there. We had been dealing with false alarms for the Ponderay Pines Reservoir saying lost communications. So this is the one that we finally, is the kicker, is saying we need. I don't know if you may not be able to read it from here, but it says the green one says Bayview Sprinkler Field Zone 2 in use. Red says Sprinkler Field Zone 2 in use of being off. We have had no power up there since October. This doesn't exist. So we said, you know what, this PLC, show you what this is.
Which stands for,
Programmable
Programmable logic controller.
thank you.
Give you an example, we may not replace it with the same one. This is called a click PLC. It has power and run lights. It shows that it's working right now. So we're gonna need to replace this and a few other miscellaneous parts to get this corrected, because middle of the night calls for a false. But what typically happens is that this one does not alarm me when it's in use, but I can check it. The one that does is lost communication. So in the middle of the night, you get the alarm, and as soon as you check it, it says all clear. I've never been able to catch it where it's in an alarm mode, because it just clears up right away. So anyway, just want to give you a little show and tell for that, to get this off of there to the main, back to the main system. So we will be doing that probably here in the next week or so this afternoon. I was just on the phone with Tim Guy of Bigfoot before the meeting started about that. So that's there. Okay, and then the other one, Mark, you brought this up earlier, about one call locate. Ziply Fiber installation project in Bayview yields close to double-digit locates on certain days. And we did have 9 on Monday that they called in, because what they're doing, you probably all know by now, they're laying fiber throughout Bayview. And so when they do that, they have to do what they're called road bores on intersections and on their driveways and things like that. And that's more what we're concerned about there, to go a little deeper. It's not going from their network to the house, when they start putting those lines in. Those are only 18 inches. It's these. We're gonna get a lot of those locates, and just so you know, what is most likely gonna happen is you've got, as you know, 3 different systems within the Bayview proper here that are not on the locate list. And the good chance they'll probably hit one of those and call us and say, we hit your line. There's nothing we can do. All I can do is warn them. Ridgeline Construction is the contractor doing this. I've dealt with them before, but I think they dealt. I don't want to say they probably dealt with a lot of situations, but to have so many private systems inside a public one is quite unusual. So
Bob, are they boring or are they trenching?
probably a combination of both, but the boring one is the one I'm more concerned about because it goes deeper.
Oh, okay.
So,
Bob, I'm sorry, what's the name of the company?
Ridgeline Construction.
Ridgeline Construction, because those guys, they, up there at the end by the park, they left a bunch of mess, and it's like, you know, they need to really clean up as they go along,
Yeah,
and they're not.
okay.
And, you know, I know it's, the guys that are actually doing it, they don't care.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is that I see my neighborhood and Bayview is not a junkyard.
Right, right.
And so I'm gonna call them and tell them, I'm gonna find a manager and meet up there and tell them they need to clean this mess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if we need to establish a policy that indicates a certain time frame that we will do locates within, and instantaneous is not part of that time frame. You
Well,
know, I
by,
think
by law, we have 48 business hours to do it, unless it's an emergency. We have 2 hours day or night to do
Yeah.
it. So it's not gonna be too many,
So-
too many emergencies, but just get the sheer volume of it. They have. When Intermax did it west of Athol, they had one guy constantly turning and looking. That's all he could do all day. And there's not enough people to respond. He's just typing. Everybody else has to go out and locate 300 feet of line. You know, because when they turn it in by address, it's not just located in front of the address of my house. It may say, I'll give you Sean's address and do all of First Street. So then it gets very time consuming. So,
yeah, it just seems
Yeah.
like I understand it's the law and I knew
Right.
that, but it
Right.
seems like. They put an unnecessary burden on
Right.
the district and we have to pay the staff that has to do that. For nothing back to the district,
and
so.
I think the issue too is that they can't possibly do that in the next 2 days. That many locations, they're trying to plan.
Yeah.
Just too many.
Yeah,
And so then you put your locate down, you put your markings, are they even gonna see them by the time they
That's correct.
come off and you get called out again?
Or you could also just wait and stack some up. Cause we have 48 hours.
well, yeah, but that's what we do. Anyway,
Okay.
that's what we try to go on this. And
But like
we try to get them on Mondays and Wednesdays.
But it will cost the district some extra money for some reason. What
Right,
we try to do is we try to get as many as we can done when we're here.
Right,
right,
Yeah. But if they got stuff that they need to get done or it's an emergency,
Yeah.
somebody's gotta come out and do
Goes
it.
there.
But we can anticipate those costs going up
right.
a
Yeah.
little bit, hopefully not too much.
There's still the real fear. Back in 2011, my sewer backed up into my Quonset and everything kind of went out the concrete and down the road because when Charter came through and put down their original fiber optic, they cut through my sewer line. So,
Yeah.
well, who pays for that fix? That was then the district, so. Yeah, we document this stuff, knowing they're in the area when they're doing that, whether we can ever get a warranty or anything back, I wouldn't. I don't know, because the effect isn't gonna show up right away.
Where you may have some issues, which really is not ours, but sometimes people put their sprinklers out into the right of way. And they come through and hit it thinking it's the utility right away, and then they have to go to battle with the company, the customer does to say, yeah, fix this, because it's really not our issue, per se. You don't need to, water.
Is it the worries with our infrastructure?
thanks for the explanation.
Okay, all right. Okay, everything else is pretty typical. We got the typical land numbers that we
We're gonna
keep.
talk about yesterday's stuff later on our regular.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
under,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
item
good.
2.
good. Everything else is pretty much the standard. Jesse, are you talking anything about the timber sale on the road later on, or should we address that now?
You can address that one.
Okay, so number 4, I should address number 1 first. RC Worst has the parts for the triplex repair, waiting for them to schedule the date to get in there. to do it.
Yay,
So I just got it in, so. I got that from there. We already talked about the septic tanks, the Land F site update. We've asked Jade and Lincoln to put it on their schedule to get up there. Since we're not using spray zones right now. So, yeah. Do you have anything you wanted to add to that at all?
We're only on the permit side of things.
Right,
Um, just got a permit review back for another system, and DEQ seems to have backed off being just crazy about things. This one came back very good, so that's encouraging for what we have coming up.
Good.
Good.
I like your. All right, we just got an email from Madison. I forgot her last name up there with the timber sale. Jesse, do you remember her last name at all?
Snipes, I think?
Okay, anyway. And where this affects us, this is the timber sale out of the fire area from Sunset Fire. And so they're still working through that process. It's not probably gonna happen this year yet, but when they do, they have to rebuild that portion of the road in front of our site. Snipes, okay.
Come in.
Thanks, yes, anyway, so Madison Snipes, so yeah, so she sent an email back saying it's, they're bidding on it, may actually be, didn't she say spring possibly, Jesse?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so the road is in such bad shape, I was just up there and it's not like, my tire's gonna pop, they're not gonna get along. with this thing.
Yeah.
The rocks are like this coming out of it. So, anyway, that's.
So that'll actually be good for us.
Yes, that'll be
If they
good for
want
us,
to
yes, that
repair
last,
the road, so they
that last
can
mile,
sell their
the 3
timber.
miles up, the last mile is awful. So.
And one other thing on the other
Yes.
side of things, I just got copies of what we handed out from Jesse tonight. Only because I had a call from Scott Jessic over at RC Worst, he's one of the development planning over there. And we're probably gonna need to look at upgrading our residential system requirements for anyone who has pumps in their tanks, so.
Would that be new, only new connections or?
Only, you
existing?
don't have, yeah, they can't book you retroactive,
Okay.
so. It's only for new, so I just wanna let you know that I'm working on it,
Yes.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
You just
Information
gave
as
me a
it
mini
becomes
heart
available.
attack.
Oh, no, I was like, oh my God.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's brand new this afternoon, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Unless there's any other questions, that's it on my report. Thanks, Bob. Yes.
All right, moving on to new business, backflow prevention assemblies for marinas.
We,
We've been talking about the need to get that in process.
and we got the copies. We got the copies of what the city of Coeur d'Alene is doing, right, you probably saw those, we brought copies with me of those. And I've also got my cross connect control manual with me, if we need to look at the specific. But what's on here is what we basically have to do. And the thing that worries me more than anything else is finding a place where we can put them, where we can put that hot box over the unit, because it's a RP unit, which has to be installed above ground. And obviously in the winter time, it's got freezing, you know, and the hot box is showing on these drawings, so we're gonna need that power for those boxes. And we're going to need to get them on a part of our routine schedule for requiring annual testing, so.
So yeah, first will be just getting them installed, and so do we? Reach out to the customer and provide them with these schematics and tell them that this is what they have to install, or? How do we do
For
that?
individuals, probably for some of the issues we're looking at with the,
So we're gonna start with the marinas.
yeah, and that's.
Yeah,
why-
the marina
that's
one
why
is the.
The marina ones are, we've got to protect our lines on that, and it's gonna be on our side of everything. So those are gonna be ours.
I thought, okay,
So we decided to put it on our side of the meter.
I think we just about have to. I mean, we can put them, this is showing on the other side of the meter. But they have so many this isn't, what they have is not typical. Typically, you've got a connection beyond the meter. This one, we have multiple connections, you know, so we have to make sure we're protected. We could actually put it on either side of the meter as long as before any of those branches go off.
You have to be,
And we may end up doing that depending on locations, because I don't know if you've been around to look at the locations or not, but some of them have very limited space.
It's because steep
Yeah.
hillside, so there's no risk.
Yeah.
And if we put it on our side, then on us then to pay for the expense of doing that, because it's on our side of the meter, that might be. Yeah, we should.
For premise isolation. I mean, this is a commercial thing. So premise isolation for commercial type operations are generally the water purveyors. So they have control over it. I hate to say that, but that way we're assured that it gets tested. If it's there, we have to notify them that it needs testing, and then if it doesn't get tested. We got another 30 days, go back and do some stuff, but just a whole bunch of hoops you have to jump through. So the board can discuss that and decide which way they want to go, because you can go either way.
Right.
That sounds like it's gonna be
Fun.
a workshop topic,
Yes.
probably specifically devoted to this and how
Mhm.
we're gonna handle it.
Mhm.
Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Installing for one marina, if we're doing it on the cusp or on the district side, would require. Pretty large shutdown
Yes.
area,
Especially McDonald's, you know, all Hudson Bay Road.
Yep.
all of Hudson Bay,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone on Hudson. Yeah.
And maybe more than that in the town possibly, depending what else we find.
And yet. We have zero option, because it's the law, so
Right.
that's, you know, we can. Spend a lot of time winking and whining about it, but it's the law and we have to come up with a solution. I think we're just gonna have to. Have a full hour-long discussion of. What the solution might be and the best way to handle it.
And there's lots of backflow prevention stuff, but there's only a couple options for high hazard conditions, which
Yeah.
is what this is considered today.
Yeah.
And so you have to have an RP, reduced pressure principal backflow, or air gap. The RP is much easier than putting in a separate tank with an air gap and a pump in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the question is whether or not to do it. I think the big questions will be whether it's on the customer side of the meter, on the district side of the meter. How much it's gonna cost us.
Mhm.
It does look like, you know, this is the standards that were provided by Keller from the city of Port Alene.
Mhm.
This is what they do. But making sure that it works for our system and then making sure that we have it in our budget. So we're
Right.
gonna need to get some cost estimates from some people so that we can plan it into a fiscal year for sure.
Well, I think we can roll those discussions into a meeting
Into the
about,
workshop, yeah,
about this, because. Instead of making them responsible for all that, we could just have an extra charge for the fact that you have to have isolation. Which is just rolled into the, which is kind of simplifies things, but like I said, that's just throwing it out there. We can bring that up and talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, so-
That's. Definitely, I mean, you know, the reality is commercial customers
Mhm.
get some benefits that not all customers get. Annual pumping is a big, one, and we foot the bill for it. So it seems like we should have some kind of collaboration with those commercial customers for the benefit that they get by ensuring their water is safe and clean for all their customers.
Yes,
And in a reasonable world, that would be okay. But,
I wouldn't think we'd get too much pushback on this unless we went with work.
yeah, I would agree. All right, well, we probably need to set a workshop and. Since it's gonna have to be next year fiscal year budget. Because we, you know, already passed our budget for this year, and we're spending it right off, so,
Yeah, just wait.
yeah, don't say that. And so, Jesse, let's plan for September, because. We already have another workshop this month, and. I have some travel planned. If you guys wanna do it on your own, I'm okay with that. But- No.
You can't go.
alright, I will send out a doodle poll for some September dates. Do we want beginning of the month or end of the month? Before or after the September?
Labor
14th?
Day is on the 7th.
Okay.
And I'm gone the.
Last half of the month.
Last
I'm
time, last time.
gone, yeah, I do vacationing a lot on, for elk hunting. The last half of September.
That's gonna be a tight window then.
Start like third week, maybe.
No, I can work remotely and I can attend the meetings remotely.
Yeah.
That
You
was
can
no
attend the
problem.
meeting from Elk.
Yeah. I'm Starlink, I do a lot of
That's
remote
awesome.
working, yeah,
That's awesome.
I set up,
Who'd have thunk it?
I have this outdoor workstation and campers will see me and I have 2 laptops, or 2 screens and they're like, wow.
Mhm. Got a elk skin behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get some carcass bleeding, dripping blood on it.
Only if you're lucky.
So what's the week of the 13th look like? I know we've got a board meeting that week as well. But we could
That
maybe
might be the
do
only week.
Tuesday the 15th.
And I can do later in September if it's a remote workshop, totally can.
I don't know, the 13th is gonna work for me.
13th is
No.
Sunday.
The
Yeah, Sunday's not good.
14, 15,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, are good.
15th.
15 would work for me.
15's good for me.
Sounds good. How about for you,
I'll make it work.
John?
It'll happen.
Okay,
So
15th
let's
it is.
do 15th at 10 AM.
yep.
All right.
Gonna be on the backflow prevention.
Yep. Okay, item 2. Water loss investigation. Back to the box.
Yes. Okay,
So you resolved it all, I guess. huh? You
All
resolved it
the
all?
problems, not all.
Actually, we have, they get out your pocketbook. We spent Bob and myself and guy from Idaho Rural Water. Yeah, from Idaho Rural Waters. Spent a lot of time yesterday out at the base going over everything. Lines, and we think we found where all the lines come in. We had the radar unit with us, so we were able to use that. Our knowledge, if we know where a couple lines come in, and be able to follow those and went down along the water and follow things down here, so. We think we're gonna have to put in what, 3 meters?
well, there is an existing meter that can't be read because it's underneath in a vault, so we need to probably we probably got everything in place there, we just need to get a new, like we're doing the residential meter cellular, just put the little flat antenna on top of it, so it's in their parking lot, and then we can just read
That
it.
meter may not be out of
What,
cellular read.
no, that's what I'm saying, we have to replace the whole meter.
Yeah, that's why, I said there's 3.
Right. So,
Two
get
of
that,
them do and one
yeah,
do
get that
one.
replaced, the other 2, we actually have to create, there's no vault or anything for it. One is right at the turn as you come in down the Scenic Bay Marina office, as you make that turn, it's right on the other side of the concrete barrier where we put, I mean, it's very tight with a fence there, so. We might have to get creative or move the barriers while we.
Yeah, I think we can move the barriers and
Right.
probably do that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Jersey
tight
barrier.
spot.
Yeah.
Not be barriers there. Another one is farther into the base down below Hudson Bay Road. I don't think that we can. It'd be very tight to do up on Hudson Bay Road
Yeah,
because the
that's
fence,
this one right
oh,
here.
thank you,
Yeah, you asked me to have the pictures,
Okay,
right? I'm
yes.
trying to point.
thank
to
you,
them.
that's right, okay, so.
We can get it.
Thank you, yes. We think we can move the barrier. You can see the fence is right there and you're looking down Main Street towards Ralph's and Mercantile anyway. So right where that little X is, that X basically is not where it would go. It would go on the other side of the barrier. The X means that the main is running there north and south along Main Street. There's also another one that's cutting down the road into the Navy base there. So that's a T. And that's another T also.
We'll go back to that one for a second.
Illustrated by the T.
Right. So it's illustrated. So it
Yeah,
has
the
to be on that side.
shut off for that one's right, kind of right about there on the
Yeah.
road.
And of course, we're assuming it works, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah, we haven't tried it out.
We haven't tried it out yet, so. This is the other one. Thank you, Jesse, for having that ready.
That one's gonna be
The
tough.
cave, well, I didn't get a picture of it, but up above there's Hudson Bay Road. That's a very steep hillside. And so we found the main down at the bottom. There's actually a couple of them down there. You see an arrow pointing it right. The meter would probably go right where you see that yellow device there. There's a mark right there somewhere, probably where that's pallet is where the meter would go. If we do it down there as opposed to Hudson Bay Road, which Hudson Bay Road means we'd have to cut their fence and get special clearance and all that stuff. It's
Good luck with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's
I
some
think they'll
some
be totally
drawbacks,
willing to work with
Right.
us. They've been
Really?
Oh, yeah.
so good.
but there are some
That's a
drawbacks. to
security
putting-
perimeter you're talking about. That's a whole other.
Go ahead, Bob.
There's some drawbacks to putting it down here, and that is we won't have any control over the water from where it actually enters the base until it gets to that point, so there's a leak in between there.
We
Where it
won't
enters the
know.
base. We won't know.
So.
It's about, what'd you say, it's about
supposed to
75?
be on Bay Road then versus this?
Good, good question.
We want to be
In
hands off.
terms of knowing what's going on, yes. In terms of access, yeah,
Yeah, because Hudson Bay Road, you're either doing it and pulling their fences out, or if you did it in the road, that'd be quite unusual to have the.
yeah, we can't pull the
whole
fence
vault.
out, but hopefully we can get it. I mean,
Yeah.
we could figure out a way probably to get it in there, but.
Right,
But the trouble is down below here, where you're looking at this, that line is coming right straight out at us. There's a line that's not too far out this way that shoots down the road that way, and then another one out by this side of the road that shoots down that way. In fact, that first one goes all the way down this direction as well.
I
So we
think,
don't know why they've got,
well, the
we
other,
think that one of them, we know is this one on this side of the road, because there's a building on this side of the road down a little way.
right,
And we're pretty sure it's supposed to feed that. But our line also runs right next to their gas pumps, which is not a good thing.
that was back in the day when they didn't have separation.
Right.
This is huge.
Yeah, so what the other, on the flip side, what makes this a good location is that the fire hydrant is a 5-foot buried hydrant. We know it's not very deep. When you get to Hudson Bay Road, we have no idea how deep that is. Yeah, we have to get down there and put a meter in, so there's some things we still need to work through. But the point is, we've identified what we believe are the 3 locations.
So also, we're gonna need heavy duty backflow preventions on those too. Technically, are we not?
Yeah. Forget the 2 inch, let's go for the 8 inch.
Yeah, these are big lines, so
Yeah.
they're probably 6-inch lines,
Right,
or bigger.
well, 1 is 6, we think 2 or 8.
Yeah,
Then the other thing is too, we have to make sure we have good check valves on there too, because this is on the tire loop system. We don't want 1 meter pushing it back, the other one backwards. We have check valves so water only comes in because it's coming in from 3 directions.
and getting. Where we can get power, because they're probably gonna have to be RPs.
Yeah.
So where we.
They got
get
electric
power
fence
from
up there.
From the nation. And then we're gonna have to have access to them every year for testing. So they're on the base. I mean, that's not a big deal getting access to the base, but.
Yeah.
I mean, all 3 of us were out there running all over the place.
Imagine RP on Hudson Bay Road, snowplow gets it, you know?
So I'll jump ahead to new business 5, just because it goes with this discussion, and here we're talking about costs and things like that. I have initiated quite a few discussions with the Defense Community Infrastructure Program, or DCIP. Short, it's called DSIP, so if you hear me say DSIP, talking about that, as you guys know or remember, that is the $900,000 grant that we were awarded for the rehab of the tank. So I thought, well, I mean, we got that from the Navy before, I would assume they would want to do this, so I reached out to them. We did unfortunately just miss the fiscal year 26 funding cycle. But the good news is that there is a planning grant, a non-competitive planning grant that we can go for. So I was in touch with Mary Beth there at the office. I met with her yesterday at 10 a.m. And she said, I don't want to get your hopes up, but this sounds like just the type of perfect project that we like to work with. She asked me to get a letter to her, a formal letter that would outline the scope of work, what we would like to do, along with some cost estimates. So the backflow devices and things like that would be good, cost estimate wise. So yeah, we have plenty of time, about 18 months planning that we can do. So that would be the first step, is me getting the letter to her. She would pass that on to her boss. Then they would get somebody out here to do a site visit. And we would start developing a plan. She says that the planning grant is so well written by their office that that would be basically a copy and paste into our letter of interest when the next funding cycle comes open. So we do have a 10% match that we are required to do. That 10% can be staff time spent on the project. So what you guys already pay staff. That's pretty great. Yeah,
that's awesome.
it could end up being pretty darn good.
Save you a lot of work too, if they could cut and paste.
Let's do it right the
Yeah.
first time, so we only have to do it once
Yeah.
instead of 4 times.
We may want to think about, maybe go like. Having me communicate with Keller. I did run into Ben at Trader Joe's and had a conversation with him, and he was like, well, let me know if you want some help on it, you know. I've worked with DCIP and did their filing and stuff too, but he did some work, and it'd be nice to kind of get my head together with them and make sure that what I'm turning in is the best of the best that we can do to sell this to get the grant. So I might incur some consultant time with the engineers.
Well, we haven't been using them very much, and we do have a budget for engineering. So I think that's a wise idea.
So I did
Okay.
skip 3 and 4, but wanted to get that
That's
out.
okay. So let's move on to action item 3, the water standby fee. Jesse, do you want to do a little preview of what we're talking about? Because we already passed at the public hearing our charge for the water standby fee,
Correct, and so, let me.
and it's been incorporated into our ordinance.
Yes, so as we all know, at the public hearing on June 15th, the water standby fee is intended for. Vacant lots, prior vacant lots, the district does not exercise this practice anymore. If a customer wants to connect to the system, their bill will start in 30 days. We don't install meters and have them sit there anymore. That's just not a practice that we do. In our water service agreements, it is signed that their bill will resume in 30 days, so if you want to connect, then you should be prepared. That does not take care of issues or practices that were in the past. So in order to rectify those, we wanted to go with any vacant lots that do not have a connection on the customer side, or sometimes referred to as the backside of the meter, and do not have any usage on their meter, and or do not have any usage on the meter. It was brought up at that meeting, which we do have the customer here today who has come into the office since the meeting, and we've discussed it in length. Just want to make sure that everyone is aware of his request and that the district is providing a clear, decisive answer. He has a situation, so specifically for this customer, the district became aware, or I became aware, that there was a piece of property that had a meter associated with it up on Cape Horn. And there was leaking that was occurring from one of our lines and running down onto a neighboring property. And it was his sister's property. And then I became aware that there was a meter and infrastructure and things like that. And so I instituted a bill as per our policies, a regular standard case fee as well as the water bond fee. So when we discussed this new standby fee, his question at the public hearing was, would my sister qualify for that? The history with that property is that there is a hydrant connected, yard hydrant, sorry, or a water spigot, there's been many names, frost free, that is connected to it. But I don't know if you guys wanted to hear from the customer or if that's.
Can I mention one thing, so we both manage other districts, and that is they implemented this fee also because whenever there's been a fire, it's been on an empty lot. So by having, when they have the infrastructure nearby, it allows them to hook up, but also the district is providing for fire protection, which now they'd be paying a little portion for, as opposed to getting a free ride. So that's in the philosophy of other districts.
So, do you guys want to hear from the customer perspective?
Sure.
I'm great to do that.
Why not?
Dave Hamilton.
That sounds like me. Good afternoon. What would you like to know about my sister's property? This all started because there was a leak next to the meter. Well, we found out later, next to the meter. And Bob, you came up and couldn't find it and suggested that it was beyond the meter.
Right.
It was on my sister's property. And I said, well, we haven't done anything. We haven't.
Right.
And you guys have been up there and put in this new fancy metering remote stuff, and that's when this leak started. Well, then I got to thinking about the roadway and the fact that there's drainage ditch on the uphill side of the road there, across from where the meters are. And I went, oh, I wonder if it's up there, it's going under the road and it's gonna create a void under the road. So I got a hold of the highway district. They came out with one of these big fancy equipment, machines that I'd never even seen before, that uses water to dig holes. And they dug around, and on the uphill side, they didn't find anything. But right next to the meter, they dug and there was a leak. And it was on, fortunately for my sister, your side of the meter. So you guys had to go in and repair. And as a result, I guess what came to light was that my sister was hooked up to the meter. So she's never developed a property, never used any water, and was not aware that she had acquired a liability by having it fully hooked up to the meter. This all developed when our neighbor in between my sister and I, long story, you guys know it, but we don't have time and nobody's holding a beer, so let's move on. They put in 2 houses, and in doing that, we had a contractor up there. And my sister and I negotiated with their contractor, well, when you're bringing their water down the driveway that we all use, please bring it down for us too. And so that occurred. And this was in 2012, I believe, and I think I've corroborated that date. Then it turns out that I don't think any of us were aware that at that time, if you connected up, you were a water user technically and had to start paying, because we didn't. And then a couple of years later, I retired and moved over here, started use and wanted the water to my place, was very pleased to have the option. And I turned my water on. Actually, I was the first one of the 4 meters up there. And that was 2014. So I didn't have any problem about paying a bill. I was getting water. The doctors, a few months later, asked for theirs to be hooked up too, and or turned on, whatever. Yeah. And they started. Well, my sister never has. She's never developed the property that she's had. There's never been water from Baby Water and sewer on there, although we paid for a LID hookup, whatever we want to call it, for the rights to have water, and had been paying that. So she'd been paying that forever, although I think it was recently paid off. Anyway, so then all of a sudden, after this leak occurred, she gets a bill and she calls me up and says, "What's going on?" And that's where this situation came to light.
Is there above ground water spigot there, on the pipe?
There is a water hydrant
Yeah.
down on her property, right at the edge of her property, which I assume the contractor brought along her access road from the main driveway coming down the hill. And as far as, yeah. Don't think it's ever been turned on.
Oh, it's on.
Well, there might be water. I haven't tried it. Yeah. So what she's asking for is, I haven't developed the property. I have no use for the water at this time. I wasn't aware that by actually having the hookup made, that I incurred the liability. I don't think the contractor ever told her that, or even told her that he was going to hook it up. All we were asking of the contractor was to have the infrastructure so that someday we would have access to water. So now she gets a bill and she's on my case, and so I'm here representing her.
On our case.
On your case, to say, why wouldn't this standby idea
The contractor.
work for her?
How much is the
Oh,
bill
he's
for?
long gone.
Yeah,
He was a cocaine addict and,
$14
yeah.
So what's the
So
total?
it's a $14 a month bill.
So instead of the $28 or whatever,
Right.
plus the,
It's half of.
yeah.
It would go against.
I'll let you know what some other systems do is they would allow it, but there would have to be a lock on the meter going to be removed by the district.
That's,
There was
I
a lot of
was
water.
gonna suggest locking it out.
Well, or what about my sister just paying a plumber to unhook it from the meter?
Well, I mean, you could
That's a lot.
offer anybody simply saying this is what other districts do.
Uh-huh.
So when there's, if there's a lock on, the district then unlocks it, knows that then, okay, we can start billing because they want the water on kind of.
Yeah, however you guys wanna
Yeah,
consider.
I'm simply letting you know what other districts. do.
Telling-
I would rather see it locked out than disconnect any line and get
Me
contaminants.
as well.
on it.
Absolutely.
Lock it out.
For a plumber and-
Lock it out.
Yeah,
Okay, so that if we can't come back later and look it up and start getting.
Well, you'd have to
Just
go through the
take-
district
and
and
then
then
we'll
go
take the
through
lots
all
of
that.
And that's what, that was always curious, it's like, did we ever pay a hookup fee back in 2012 when this was built?
Jesse? Do you have any records?
Um,
Yeah.
well.
None of us
No.
were here, so
Yeah.
now. it's
Yeah.
black here.
The only thing is I would wanna say, you know. The district needs to be able to monitor that no usage is incurred on that meter, meaning that, you know. Some lock could get cut off or whatever, but if a leak occurs for whatever various reasons, that is a liability to the district's customers. And then, well, we didn't use it, but then a leak occurred and. It does open up for, so that would be the benefit of disconnecting the line.
Mm.
But
also then.
Yeah,
the
but you're
risk
disconnecting
of-
the line where? After the meter or before the? meter?
from the meter,
Yeah,
so that
that's-
there's no, like, so you would
Unplug
cap
it.
it.
Okay.
So that no potential liability of a leak or something occurs and then the meter usage moves and then now you're in a dispute again with the customer. Of who,
Well, doesn't locking it mean that,
Yeah, it's not a
Water's
good
gonna
deal.
go
I've never
through.
seen one.
so isn't that kind of?
just unless the hydrant's
Put the
leaks,
lock
which
on the
we've
valve.
repaired.
Locked on.
Oh, okay,
Which
I was thinking the hydrant locked off.
No, no.
could be
Okay.
in a fire
Locked on the meter, just like we're shutting
Okay,
something off.
okay.
Well,
that
we
makes more
have
sense to
water
me.
down
Sorry
there
about
within 25 feet
Okay, okay.
of my sister's property, so.
that. Sorry, I was thinking the hydrant would be locked off, not the meter, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Making confusion where confusion. just
Well,
fixed.
so
Do you
I
wanna
would
just
say,
vote on it?
I would say that. We should make a motion to lock that meter. And at
I would
at
definitely make.
such point that someone wants to re-hook it up, they'll have to pay the hookup fee.
Is that our policy? Do we have that written? Do we lock meters? Do we lock boxes? I mean, say we're gonna do something.
We do not
What do
have
we
that
undo?
policy and we do have a later discussion on the agenda talking about past historical practices that have been in place. And it could affect those as well, so
Need to be.
everything's a
As
test,
per
no, it's,
and in accordance with.
it's an experienced question.
The question if for records is, do we know what was told, documented, paid for when
And
it was
delinquent
put in?
customers who are locked off, I mean, granted, they're delinquent customers, their bill, it still continues.
I don't see any problem with locking it off unless the ordinance specifically prohibits it.
Did they pay
I would
for
just say
somebody
the
to
rate
give them
schedule
our
makes it
transmission, to
clear.
bring it in, we got paid for it, they didn't expect to have a meter. They just said, bring it to our property. Does that mean to one person that we're gonna have it capped, and then to another person means it's gonna get a meter and you're gonna have water right there? And back in 2012, 2014, things were going on, we're cleaning right now.
And I think if we do decide to do that, we need to change the wording of what has already been adopted again. So we either follow what's written or we don't.
But what we need to do is determine what the most reasonable solution is. And then fix what we need to do for that reasonable solution to occur. That's what we need to do.
And thank you guys for listening, and I'm sorry to bring you this can of worms, but.
I'd say we keep it simple, we just lock it off.
I agree.
Let's
Yeah.
keep it simple, I mean, this shouldn't be dissected off, it's just a waste of time, I really think it is. It's like,
So then this should be on the next agenda and we will reword it.
Yeah,
Okay, I need a motion.
Motion that we lock off that meter.
well,
Change,
reword the,
reword the ordinance, I was just gonna say, reword the ordinance.
I had more wrong with this.
okay, well then we need to discuss that.
Motion's been made, not seconded.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
And since there are no opposed, now we talk about review of historical billing practices for consistency and equity. Which fits right into this.
Alrighty. We have what is the review historical billing practices? Yes, so in your guys' pamphlet, Logan had worked up. I don't know what page it is, but it's a Excel spreadsheet. Logan had worked up a. Well, I don't have that big there. That is a list of dormant accounts that we have. And this is on the agenda based off of a public, or not a public, agenda request item, to discuss where an account, was. We have a dormatized account that does not receive a bill and has not for a while. It used to be the practice of the district to dormatize accounts. These are all old, none of them are from in my time. But we did compile the list. People would dormatize accounts for various reasons. In 2015, when the fire went through and a house burnt down, they dormatized the account and the user bill stopped. If a house became uninhabitable, and operators went over there and inspected it and said, yeah, it's no way anyone can live here, the account was dormatized. So we've compiled a list of them, and we would need to likely go through. I would probably suggest at this point, if we have a meeting to discuss the rate schedule wording and standby fees, maybe we would incorporate either a line item that would incorporate accounts such as these on the agenda, or keep it separate but we do have a list of dormatized accounts that we would need to determine what we want to do with this. Currently, they're not following district practices and they do not have a monthly bill. And
Are these both water and sewer accounts?
some are water, some are sewer, and some are both. And that is because, yeah, for various different reasons. Some of the people on the list, I have approached. And in order to verify, because some of them claim we're simply not connected to your system. Well, we would have to I've contacted the company to get a rough idea figure about what it would be to camera the lines from their infrastructure to a tank. And we're looking at around $350 to $500, depending on the circumstance, if they have to pull the toilet or not, things like that.
Per
But-
account.
Yeah,
Well,
So,
they would have to
who-
let you on their property too, which is another issue.
yeah, that is the thing. But yeah, just various things around it
Okay,
in order
so
to remedy these situations.
just to clarify in my brain,
Yeah.
there's a lot. A lot
I
to
know there
this.
is.
So all these 11 accounts were given dormancy status by previous boards.
Correct.
And we have no idea whether they're using our services or not using our services.
We would know if they were using water, wouldn't we?
Yes, so, well, not this
That's
one,
our
this one's not
system.
connected into our water system, it's just served by sewer, at least one of the properties is. But now they're joined and it's a tangled web. So some of them are just sewer accounts, so we would need to camera the lines to see if their septic tank is indeed connected into our system and therefore should have a bill or should not, or whatever. Some are water and sewer accounts that are uninhabitable, you're not able to live in them. One of them we certify every single year. It's just never been lived in as long as I've been here and it's falling down, but it's connected into our system. It's just various things like that. And I had passed along an agenda request item where someone brought it to us and it was expected that the district would discuss these types of things, which is how I developed the list. So we would need to go item by item to discuss either what we would do with them as a whole so that we're fair, or if we would exercise different practices for different types of situations.
That's gonna take a long time.
It would,
So we'd have to have a work group to do that.
I would think so.
October.
Yes. Another day at the water district.
That's minutia,
Yeah,
heavy minutia.
okay. Well,
October.
Yeah. So by the end of October. I guess we will. Tackle this list in October and make a determination.
Can we put it on the bail or add it to the old business list so we keep?
Yep, absolutely, Sean, that's a great idea.
I will add it to the board action item list.
And Bob Hanson, you're ready to on your October list for.
Yes.
So we'll schedule that if we later.
Yeah, we'll review the board action item list on a quarterly basis, and at that time, the district gets to decide. Where our current workload is and what items take priority, and then we can put things on the agenda as we see. Time permits.
Great. Okay. Wowza. We sure inherited a lot of stuff we have no idea about. Jesse, you already talked about DCIP, so thank you very much for that. We're
As
thrilled.
a reminder of the good things that are happening.
That's where I'm going, where I'm going. So action item 6, purchasing a new handheld device for meter reading that integrates with our current billing software.
Yes.
Yes.
Great,
Done.
yeah, I don't know if you guys are aware,
We know it does.
yes, it
Yes.
comes from the actual company itself. So it is. Around $500 for this device. It's a one-time cost. It's not a subscription or anything. But you know, much like, so Logan has been helping with meter reading lately. And learning the process there. As she has been working with water systems management more and such. And she has greatly improved some meter reading errors and identified processes. I think it's invaluable to have her in the office to know what it's like to see it from the clerical and administrative side, and then be out in the office, training to be a system operator herself. And she came back to the office and she said, "Can I get an iPad?" And I said, you know, they actually have a device. We just didn't get it back in the day because they have their system that works for them, and there was no need to incur the cost. But this one integrates specifically to our billing software. Which would save time and cut down on errors.
So it's $495. I would please
Money
accept
well
the
spent.
motion.
I'll make a motion that we purchase.
Okay, all in favor?
The easiest thing we did all day.
Let's move on to the certification list.
Yes, so I'm not actually pulling that up because it is highly confidential, but I did provide it in your guys' board packets. Should be the last page there for you. And this is our current list where we're at. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the smallest lists I've seen, although we don't do LIDs anymore. Or anything, but yeah, a lot of these people are on the list almost every year. Some of them are new, but this is our list. It totals about $7,000.23 that I would certify. We do still have between today is the 16th and everyone has until the 28th, I believe, to pay. We could be getting some more payoffs. We've already gotten a number since we sent the letters out on July 1st to having the board meeting. We usually get a pretty good,
Early this month, so.
yeah, we usually do get a pretty good response, so that would be the list that I would take into the county, and then they take that and certify it onto people's property taxes, and that's how the county pays us.
We've had very good record of the county paying us.
Yes.
So.
So, when the motion is made, all I need is the list is approved with the possibility that people would be subtracted from the list for full payoffs, but
Right.
nobody would be added.
Do you want a motion?
I don't know that we need to make a motion to approve the certified list.
Yes, we do.
Oh, do we?
This is, yeah, I'll send this
Oh,
with you.
Thank you.
And it states that we went to a meeting, you reviewed it, you made a motion, and then you'll have to get it notarized.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, I'd accept it.
I would make a motion that we accept the certification list as presented, understanding that people may still pay up until the end of the month, which would change who we ask for certifications from the county. As presented.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to old business, let's have an update on district-wide property inspection and account review and the changes coming. Jesse, is that you or Bonnie Mance?
But.
I spoke first.
I spoke first. Logan has been doing her inspections. She does text me immediately after her day ends. She has been having some pretty good success. We get the letters out, we give people ample warning. Then the morning of, she comes into the office, she makes her phone calls, tries to make connection with them. We created a form that she can leave at the house if they're not there, requesting that they contact us back. She's created a pretty good file system. She's also been, any downtime that she has in between, has been updating the spreadsheet with any homes. She goes to the county records to see when the home was built, and if they, like if they're after 1986, then chances are the lead service line, American, what was it, the National Safety, I don't know, that's when they instituted the no lead in service lines. So any homes built after 1986 likely do not need to fall under the inspection category. So she's been going through the very long, extensive list and seeing which homes we even need to give special attention to so that we can cut out some work there.
And I will say, she's also been following up on her initial inspections.
Yeah.
Before we had the extra questions.
Yeah.
Because I have been inspected and then I've been called to update my inspection. So.
Yeah, and I did get a call from the very first customer yesterday. I was covering the office and she was like, well, Logan called me and I got to talk to her. And I will say also that I've gotten very good responses from people in the community just about how pleasant and nice she is. So
Yep.
she's been plugging away.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We've had difficulty in some communities getting people to even talk to us.
Yeah.
And have we had any people who refuse to participate with us?
Before she's gone over there, she called me and she says, she's like, where's the ordinance section that says we can inspect? And so I had her print that out and she says, well, what do I say? This guy's asking what gives us the authority. And I said, well, don't do anything different than take the printed out ordinance and you say, you know, you just speak very kindly and this is what our ordinance states. Don't deviate from it. You don't need to create your own dialogue. Just simply read very kindly what the ordinance states and where our authority lies. And if they absolutely refuse, then, you know, do not engage, just politely leave and we will, but she hasn't yet.
Good.
She just had one guy question before she went over there, but he did end up complying and accommodating and was very nice to her.
It is a benefit to them as well.
Yeah,
As long as we
absolutely.
say-
Yeah.
As long as we let them know that we're not here to be a bad guy. If we find something that's to your benefit to know what's going on. So,
Yeah, you might have a health risk and you
Yeah.
don't know it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right, well, we're not going to review the board action item list until September. But now is the time for public comments and if anyone has signed up. Ed?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I don't have a question other than, in my last couple of days, my trips up to Ralph to have coffee in the morning, I see some green marks on the pavement. And, Specifically, the green mark on Pier Road and Main. Forever in the winter. Never seems to freeze. And that's really strange, and it's always wet in there, even when it's cold. And seems to me like that would be a likely leak.
Can you comment on that?
Absolutely, yeah, please.
Well, keep in mind, if it's a sewer line, it's gonna be warmer also, it might create just enough heat to keep it melted there, but as long as you're not seeing cooling water or effluent or anything like that. it's probably okay.
yeah. But I
It's
don't
it's a
know,
gravity system.
That's going right towards the triplex.
Yeah.
but sewer line is never full.
That's correct, but it's also not cold either.
Yeah.
Cold water under pressure. So it's generally tends to be warmer.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
But
of course, those
anyway,
green lines, that's for that Zipley fiber project, probably is why they're all marked out there.
Yeah.
Looking for road bores and things like that, probably one of those 9 we did last Monday. 9 locations.
Okay, well, it's been that way for years, and I just. You know, in looking for leaks previously, I have had a little bit of experience of that, and I just think that if we specify, have you done any hearing tests that
And that's Pier Road and what, Ted?
me?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's some green paint lines there.
Right, and that's for sewer. So,
That's for sure.
so if it was for water, that's where you get your listening device stuff. It's under pressure to hear it. On the
Okay.
sewer, you're not going to, so it's just gravity.
Yeah, yeah, right.
There's no standing water there.
No standing water,
Okay.
no.
Under standing water, we can pull a sample,
Yes.
do a bacteria test on it, gives you a pretty good idea.
Not ours.
Okay, just a thought.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Ed.
About 30 seconds.
I think you already addressed my thing that I brought, another can of worms to you, but in all fairness, so if you don't bill the people, are they gonna lose their ERs? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? They're hooked up, and my neighbor on the other side's paying 1.7 and hasn't used it in 3 years. They have their old sick haven't been here, but yet the other house, it is hooked up. I know that, there's a bathroom and a sink, yes, they're not using it, but. In fairness, I think that everybody should have to pay, and I don't know about the half vacant water billing either, does that entitle me to that because they don't have a house there?
Now you look at me like I make decisions.
I that's what you
Workshop.
September.
But this is one of the,
You know, I just feel like everybody should, if you have a ER and you're hooked up to it, whether you use it or not, if some of my neighbors that aren't using it, you should pay. It's all part of the system.
When it was.
Which is
Fairness,
Which I think is why we
fairness.
redid that, the way the ordinance read, because we felt like you get the infrastructure to your property, that has a value.
And
And
that
we're
property-
expected to upkeep that infrastructure, which also has a value. So,
And that's what I'm saying, I guess,
Yep.
is everybody should have to pay. That property that I sold for $30,000 in 2012, it's valued at $250,000. So based on that, he should be paying into our system because it's part of the value of his property. If he didn't have it, he couldn't sell it.
anything more, Kate?
Nope, that's it. You already addressed it pretty well, I think, earlier. Only because I gave it.
All right. Introduce yourself and who you're with.
My name is Zachary New. I'm a owner of Selkirk Water Services. I do contract operations for water and wastewater. Wanted to come in and introduce myself. I'm going to be going through the regions, picking up systems as needed. based on compliance issues with existing systems. We specialize in compliance, DEQ, sanitary surveys. We have been in business since 2018, and I just wanted to introduce myself as an option. We are focused on future planning, moving forward, and are available if anybody needs anything, and if anybody has any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them.
Well, Zach, I think you're gonna
Thank
do
you.
these guys' job.
And I believe on the first 10 minutes of learning the system with me, you said that this would be one of the contracts you would drop.
Possible.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, well, appreciate the introduction.
No problem.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
All right, is there anybody online?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Can
we
you-
can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's there's feedback again. Actually, Kay brought up a really good point. On her address, right now there is no house there. She should be being billed half price. She should not be billed full price because there's no, you just passed an ordinance that is exactly her situation. There's no building, there's a meter, so she should be billed half. I don't see why that's not initiated.
We never passed that, Cheryl. It's not,
Didn't you pass that at the public meeting where you did the? Oh, that's funny. I recall you passing that. Okay.
Anything else?
No, nothing else.
Anybody else online, Jesse?
That is our only, nope, just kidding, I'm gonna ask another. We have a Michael Miller, and I'm gonna push ask to unmute. If you have something to say, you can accept that request, and we'll hear from you.
I know Michael was on last month as well, but didn't have any public comments. One more attempt to unmute, Mr. Miller.
All right,
it's great they come and listen, though. That's awesome.
Okay,
we're entertained.
well, I would accept a motion to adjourn if there's no further discussion.
I make that motion. Second.
Okay.
Yes.
Hopefully we go another half hour.